Hey, beautiful people of the internet. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully great. Welcome back to another Warframe video. We are of course going to be talking about the Vasto Prime. If you guys didn't know, this is an OG, one of those long but forgotten weapons that no one really uses. You only go and use it for mastery for it because A, it looks pretty cool, but at the same time it's not exactly that good whatsoever. But thanks to the Incarnon system, we now have a reason to go and use it. Is it broken? No. Is it pretty good? Yes. Do you want to have fun with it? Of course. But is it meta? Definitely not. It's not as powerful as like the Latron Prime, where this Incarnon form, or whatever the most powerful version of Latron is. It's definitely not that powerful. But hey, if you guys want a weapon that's outside the meta, then the Vasto Prime is definitely the way out. But before I continue with the video any further, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys like to support me or the channel any further, do remember to leave a like on this video. It always helps me out substantially. Spartan click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos and streams. We also do have a Discord server, so if you guys like to go from 0 to hero as fast as humanly possible, you guys can go and do so by taking a look at the description. There will be a link to our Discord, as this is the place to go and be. What you guys went for, go and join the server. And finally, we also do have a merch store, so if you would like to go and support your boy during these tough times, you can go ahead by taking a look at our merch store. Without further ado, let's get this video on the road, shall we? Just like every other Incarnon form, this particular weapon has its own set of perks. So naturally, I'll be showing you guys exactly what are your guys' choices. So Evolution 1 simply states that, hey, we now have access to an Incarnon form. In order to go and utilize it, simply go and shoot the enemies in the head. When you guys are doing that, you'll be able to go and fill up your Incarnon form. And the Vasto Prime's Incarnon form simply allows you to go and dump out your remaining magazine or your remaining charges in rapid succession. Just like how the alt fire for the Pandero or the Pandero Prime works. If you guys are a big fan of Red Dead Redemption with, Deadeye, where you guys can go and land multiple shots into one singular target and just nail them down in rapid succession, just like how your traditional cowboy western films work. That's exactly how the Incarnon form works. However, you will not be able to go and aim. You simply have to go up close and personal with the enemies and just brutalize them. Evolution 2. Now here you guys have two options. The first one is known as Lone Gun. Increased damage by 24 with no primary equipped. Increased damage by 40 with an increase to your magazine capacity by 14. Next up is we've got ourselves Death Trap Trigger, and as you guys can see, we have an increase to our damage by 24, and on equip from primary, you have an increase to your critical chance and you have an increase to your critical damage multiplier. So in other words, you guys are going to start seeing big boy multipliers. Now I really did want to go with the Death Trap Trigger, but in my honest opinion, I don't see why I would, because even if you guys get all the crit upgrades, you still will not be able to get past 100%. So what's the point in having 90% and going for all these crit upgrades if you're just going to go and use Harrow, if you know what I mean. So these are your two options. I just went with Lone Gun because I like always, if you guys are going to be using a revolver, why have a primary? It just makes sense to me, And of course, our third evolution is going to give us three options. We have Extended Volley, which increases our magazine capacity by 6. Then we've got ourselves Marksman's Hand, which gives us a lot less weapon recoil by 50%. And of course, we are going to be using another one called Awakened Readiness. Sorry, now we're going to be using, this is just the other perk. So it gives you 20% increase to your magazine reload per second when holstered. So this means that if you're using a different weapon, whether it's a primary or a melee weapon, while this particular one is away, you'll slowly start getting your magazine refilled. In my honest opinion, I think it's quite pointless, especially because of the fact that it literally has a 1 second reload. So what's the point in just keeping it in your pocket if you can just, reload in like 1 second? So I of course went with less recoil, because if you guys have got practically no recoil, it'll just make your life so much easier when landing those headshots. Next up is we are going to be talking about the Evolution 4, and of course, just like the previous one, it came with 3 choices. Option number 1 is called Commodore's Fortune. Increase your critical chance by 18%. Next one is called Survivor's Edge. Increase your critical chance and stage chance by 10%. And of course, we've got ourselves Reaper's Plenty, which says on headshot, will be gaining 100% ammo efficiency for 2 seconds. So this just means that if you guys keep playing headshots, it'll never ever take from your reserves or your magazine. You practically have infinite ammo for 2 seconds, and it can be refreshed just so long as you guys are landing headshots. Which, why would you not land headshots? Because that's where this weapon's damage does come. Combine all these abilities together, you're basically going to have a revolver that's got no recoil, that's got infinite damage, and well, not infinite damage, it's got no recoil. You can spam it as much as you guys want, and of course you have a 1 second reload time. In other words, you can just keep spamming the enemies and just absolutely decimate them. You know, no recoil, infinite ammo, and of course some good damage. So here's the build for our Vasto Prime, because we're going to be utilizing either the Incarnon form or its regular base form, which are both relatively powerful. And as you guys can tell, it has a Riven disposition of 5. So this build plus the Incarnon mods themselves, we've gone and just made a build based off of our Riven. So our Riven is damage multi-shot, meaning that we're going to be packing quite a lot of punch. The funny thing about this particular Riven is that I actually added 7 rolls, but I actually got this Riven right when it was unrolled, so I could have sold for quite a lot of platinum or for a pretty penny. But the build is as follows. So we've got ourselves lethal turn and barrel diffusion for our multi-shot and rare fire, primary target cracker and pistol gamut for our critical chance and our critical damage, Hornet Strike for our base damage, because what's the point of critting and multi-shot if a single pellet practically deals no damage whatsoever. Next up is we have 2 elementals of choice. Now these 2 mods are purely dependent on what kind of enemies you guys are fighting. Are you fighting the Corpus? Are you fighting the Grineer? Are you fighting the Infested? Depends on them. So we're going to be rolling around with Jolt and Pistol Pestilence to go and give us Corrosive. If you're going to be fighting the majority of the Grineer, then go with Corrosive. Because remember, Corrosive deals 75% additional damage to armored enemies. And of course, our arcane choice is going to be Secondary Merciless. This is purely just going to go and give us even more damage, because remember, we get 30% damage for 4 seconds, which does stack up to 12 times, which is a lot of damage. I believe it's 360% extra damage along with 30% extra reload. So let me show you guys exactly how this weapon works. So what you want to do is simply start shooting a target. As you guys can tell, my Incarnon form has already been charged. Activate like so, you'll reload your clip entirely, and as you guys can see, I can't aim whatsoever. But if I walk slowly, he'll then go into this animation pose, ready to go and obliterate anyone at will. And then you simply hit a target, and as you guys can tell, it absolutely obliterates whatsoever. But the one downside is that it finishes up so quickly. So you simply just have to get 2 headshots, because it's a high level target. It'll be quick, and then you can just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, but you just have to get close. The nice thing is that you can just keep spamming everything. As long as you keep laying headshots, you'll never really need to worry about reloading whatsoever. Just like how I said, you've got no recoil and you've got infinite ammo, and of course your damage is insanely high. And of course you can activate your Incarnon. You can't aim, but hey, he walks around in this particular animation. And of course this is with no buffs whatsoever. Alright, so let me show you guys exactly how this weapon works when it comes to a more freely playstyle, or with some buffs as well. So we're going to activate our 4th, then we're going to start absorbing all this damage to go and max out our crit. Then of course we're just going to keep them in one place. Therefore we can just go and annihilate them. And as you guys can tell, with all the buffs, including with Secondary Mercenaries, we just absolutely one-shot the living daylights out of all of them. And I mean, because we have the unlimited ammo perk, we can simply just go and spam all this and not worry about any reloading whatsoever. And you guys can just go and decimate the enemies. Whether you guys have the Harrow buff or not, it's still very strong. But I wouldn't say it's as powerful as, say, some of the weapons like the Latron Prime or anything else. Or even the Mythos, especially if you guys do have a Riven. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have enjoyed the video, or if it's helped you guys out in any way or form, do remember to leave a like on this video. It always helps me out substantially. Spartan subscribe button for more Warframe videos and streams. We also do have a Discord server, so if you guys like to go from 0 to hero as fast as possible, go ahead and join the Discord server. There will be a link down in the description. We also do have a merch store, so if you guys would like to then go and support your boy during these tough times, you can go and do so by taking a look at our merch store. I'm Make Like a Banana and Split.